Hi, in this class we are going to see about muscle tone. We have seen about the tracts, we have seen about the reflex arc and the stretch reflex. Having discussed all these things, next we are going into the muscle tone. Why this muscle tone is very important? It is a very debated subject in case of assessment as well as in case of management. So before going into the assessment and management of this vital aspect, we should know what is the physiology behind that, how tone is maintained. This also will give a clear idea by merely stretching a muscle, can a physiotherapist reduce the spasticity or not? Can by just tapping the muscle belly, can a person facilitate the movement of a muscle by improving the tone or not? So these two questions are going to be answered if you know the physiology of muscle tone. In the last class we saw the relationship between the muscle and the spinal cord. So now we are introducing two different characters in the anterior horn cells. One is the alpha motor neuron, another one is the gamma motor neuron. So these two functions have to be clearly understood for you to understand about the tone, how the muscle tone even remains on a resting state of the muscle. So this alpha motor neuron is the one which supplies the extrafusal muscle fibers, whereas the gamma motor neuron is the one which supplies the or intrafusal muscle fibers which are remaining in the muscle spindle. So they always give a constant discharge to this muscle spindle. So they keep the muscle spindles active even when the muscle is absolutely at rest, but mind you, not during sleep. When a person is awake, however he may be relaxed, this discharge from the gamma motor neuron will always go to the muscle spindle. This is in a sort of a keeping the muscle in a preparation for contraction. Anytime the muscle should be in a prepared state to contract, for that this gamma motor neuron always sends information to the muscle spindles. So we always know once the muscle spindle is getting contracted or activated, it sends an information to the posterior horn cells. Okay, so once the muscle spindle gets contracted because of the stretch reflex, it sends information to the posterior horn cells by means of 1A fibers, and this posterior horn cell sends information to the anterior horn cell, that is the alpha motor neuron, and this alpha motor neuron sends information back to the extrafusal muscle fibers. So a small discharge to the muscle spindle will invariably activate the stretch reflex or the reflex that maintains the tone and contract the extrafusal muscle fibers. So this is how the tone is maintained. So in case if I am holding the arm against gravity, where there is a need for a much more tone for maintaining the anti-gravity muscles, the gamma motor neuron are going to discharge more and the tone is going to increase in the anti-gravity muscles. So this discharge by the gamma motor neuron is constant and it is very steady. If you stretch the muscle on an instantaneous basis, for a momentary basis, you may bring about a reduced activation of the stretch reflex, because you are going to give a constant stretch for a prolonged period of time, because of which the spindles may get rebiased. They may become overstimulated and this discharge can be diminished. But once you stop this stretch after a period of while, according to research, not more than 45 seconds later, these spindles are going to be active once again, because the gamma motor neuron is going to start discharging. So here what we have to clearly understand is, by merely stretching a spastic muscle or a hypertonic muscle, the discharge from the spinal cord cannot be stopped. So as a result of that, there cannot be any reduction in the tone. The tone reduction may be momentary, may be instantaneous also, but it cannot sustain for a while. People may argue that once I stretch the muscle, within that 40 seconds I am going to bring about a better voluntary control or a better muscle contraction, but that is not going to be possible at all. That is why stretching of a muscle is not a solution for reducing the tone. Is this tone only maintained by the gamma motor neuron? No, there are various structures that are influencing the gamma motor neurons which are located in the anterior horn cells of the spinal cord. These are called as supraspinal influence. So something which is above the supraspinal, that is your higher centers, are going to constantly influence this tone discharge, tone maintenance in your body. The first and foremost is the cerebral cortex. So the cerebral cortex always have a positive influence on the tone. The cerebral discharge is going to facilitate the tone. But there is something called as a basal ganglia that is influencing the cerebral cortex in a negative manner. Remember that basal ganglia are not directly connected to the spinal cord for the influence of the tone. They indirectly influence the tone by means of influencing the cerebral cortex. So how the cerebral cortex is getting connected to the spinal cord for tone maintenance is through a system called as the RAS. We have already seen that, reticular activating system. So this reticular activating system is almost like an on and off switch for a human body. So that is why this influence of the cerebral cortex on the RAS is very vital for influence of the spinal cord. When a person is sleeping, what happens? When he is sleeping, this RAS is going to shut down and the patient's body is going to be completely relaxed. There won't be any tone at all. You might have seen stroke patients coming and telling you, sir, when he is sleeping, when he is at the midnight, I see his elbow, wrist, fingers, everything is completely full and free. There is no issues at all, no spasticity at all. How that is possible, sir? Many people will come and ask you. The reason for that is the RAS. The RAS will shut down and it will influence all the influences from the supraspinal centers cannot reach the spinal cord when there is a shutdown. Fine. So what happens to the cerebellum? Cerebellum also influences the spinal cord in a positive manner. It influences the spinal cord and the tone in a positive manner. That is why when there is a lesion of the cerebellum, there is hypotonia, because this positive influence is lost. So there is a hypotonia. When it comes to the cerebellum, it also has two types of influence on the tone. It can also act as a facilitator, and also there are centers which can act as inhibitors, because in the cerebellum you have got anterior lobe. In the anterior lobe you have medial portion and the lateral portion. So the medial portion is going to be connected with the medial reticulospinal tract or medullary reticulospinal tract. The lateral one is going to be connected with the pontine reticulospinal tract. This is medullary reticulospinal, M for medial and M for medullary, just you can remember like that. Medullary reticulospinal tract, and the lateral is going to get attached with the pontine reticulospinal tract. The discharge of the medullary reticulospinal tract is going to bring about an inhibition of the tone, whereas the lateral portion of the cerebellum is going to bring about a facilitation of the tone. Of late, it is understood that the lateral half of the anterior lobe is much developed than the medial part. So any loss in the cerebellar function will result in inhibition of the tone, reduction of the tone, because the lateral part, which is much developed, plays a role as a facilitator of the tone. Once it is lost, the tone falls down. The cerebral cortex influences the RAS in a positive manner. The basal ganglia has an negative influence on the tone. Cerebellum has a positive influence on the tone. So you can understand, when there is a lesion of the brainstem, all the basal ganglia structures, nucleuses which are located in the subcortical structures and in the basal ganglia, once if there is an injury to this area, it results in increased tone of the human body. So that is the reason for that. When the higher centers want to increase the tone of the patient, the cerebral cortex will start functioning. It will start discharging more. When maybe when I am lifting a weight, or when I am climbing stairs, when I need more tone in the muscles, cerebral cortex will fire. Whereas the basal ganglia, when I need to relax, when I need to reduce muscle tone, when I am resting, the basal ganglia discharges to the cerebral cortex, and it will inhibit the discharge of the cerebral cortex to the spinal cord through the RAS. In case if I am asleep, I am completely asleep, this RAS will shut down and it will prevent the influence of the all other structures. So to conclude, I would like to tell you that in case if there is a hypotonia or a hypertonia, hyporeflexia or a hyperreflexia, you should know which are the structures that might be affected. In case if there is any problem in the reflex arc, that is between the spinal cord and the muscle neuromuscular junction or the anterior horn cells, then the patients will produce hypotonia, hyporeflexia. Classically there is no dispute in that, but in case of the higher center lesions, okay, a pure cerebral cortex lesion can also present as hypotonia or hyporeflexia. So don't say if it is upper motor neuron lesion, spasticity and hyperreflexia are the classical features. There can also be some differences because cerebellar lesions are also higher center functions, that is human lesion, which can produce a positive, which can also result in reduced tone. Fine. So this I think will help you in your differential diagnosis. With this, we will see you in the next class. Bye.